Yo, what's up, man? It's a Monday morning. Welcome to Power Plays Palace, man. We ain't gonna hold it up too tough. We we gonna get right to it. You feel me? So let's go. All right. So here's the chart for Friday. We're looking for a spot to reclaim the gap above 744.35 with an entry at 744.50 to 745.20 and a stop below 742.80. What our targets for that for Friday was 747, 749, and 752. But if it rejected in that area, we were going to be looking for a short to get in around 743.50 to 744.50. And I know that's same as like on the call side, but it's about momentum and volume. But we're looking for a stop above 746.20, target 741, 740, 741.80, 740.20, 739.50. So let's look at the chart for Friday. We're looking at that pre-market. So the first thing is, if you remember correctly, it was a gap down. And so when we got into this area, spot opened up right here at 741.84. Then it worked this way down to 737.96. That was the low of the day. And then it during the market hours. But then after that, it worked this way back up to 742. So that's like a $5 range. From there, it came back down to 739, and then it worked this way back up to 743, making a high of the day. And then from there, you got your reversal candle here, and then we got a pullback. And then at the end of the day, from about 2 o'clock to the end of the day, SPY retreated. It ended up closing out the day at 739.08, which was another $4 move, which really wasn't bad, to be honest. But that was SPY on Friday. So let's go back and look at the chart. And then we see on the chart, it really didn't get into many of my areas. But when it went up to 743 and rejected, you were able to get all the way down to that 739.50, so it was 739.05. But it didn't occur until later in the day. But it did touch all those areas coming back down. And so that was a pretty good deal. You had to play it, like I said, to follow the chart part of it. We went to 743.50, testing that pre-market high and rejecting. That was a good sign at that time. But again, it would have been 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you got that trade. So that was a good trade. It was a good projection, but it would have happened later in the day. Patience helps, So let's look at the chart for the day. Okay. So for the day, what we're looking at is SPY reclaiming the lows above 739.25. We're looking at an entry around 739.40 to 740 even, psychological level. With a stop below 737.80, target 741.20, 742.80, 743.46. And if we get a rejection on the short side, there's 738.80, 739.25, we'll be looking at an entry around that area, right? 738.80, because it's going to be a rejection. So, and I know I said on volume and momentum. If SPY is pushing up, and what I mean by volume and momentum, and you got big candles leading into some of these sustained candles leading into some of these highs. Understand, when you're in these all-time high areas, there's really nothing up here, long term for the market to depend on. So it's still establishing areas, controlling those areas, and it's working around those areas, trying to establish, the buys and the sells and all the things that people do to kind of prop up different levels. So when that's not happening, when you have the first time into a level, everything is just developing. So a lot of times they reject. And so that's what I mean. So it goes into that level, and you see where it's starting to run the red candles or the green candles are getting weaker, then you get like a tall wick at the top of that candle, then that's a sign that there's nothing there at the moment. So you probably want to, be careful when you trade that, or use that as a point if you're in like calls and it's going up to a new low. You use that as a point to get out. One of your take profit levels. But let's go back to the chart. We'll teach a moment. So, but with the stop, if we're looking for an entry around 738.80, the 739.50 when it starts with a stop above 741. But our targets being 730, 720, 736, and 734.75. And so what happens is if we hit this level and it rejects and it pushes back, we'll be looking at those levels. And that's our trade plan for today on the spot. But let's look at this pre-market real quick before we get up out of here. Because right now it's not even 8 o'clock, right? So the market could change. All right, so we can see right now it's still working down. A small little gap down here from 730, 728 down to 7. What it's open at 735.70. But you see it already closed that little gap, and it's working right there. You see our pre-market low, see our pre-market high where it comes from, and that was a pretty good range, about a $5 range, man. And I'm telling you why I say that is because you look over here on Friday. Our pre-market high was way up here, and our pre-market low was way down here. That was our $6 range, okay? But if you look at the chart, it went from 737 to 743. That's about a $6 range. And then you go from 743 down here to 739. Now, if I want to be funny, it went all the way down here at market close. And that's at 415, so at 410, so spot you would still be trading the spot at that time if you're trading, because the market for spot on closed to 415. So technically 736.88. So that's another $7 move. And it started a $7 move, but it did it over here, and then it did it. And I hear a lot of people in the market say if it does it one way pre-market, it'll do that the next. When you're out of pre-market, but I don't know for sure because if anything was predictable 100% of the time, then everybody be doing it 100% of the time. So I'm not going to tell you to do that. But those are our trading plans for today. You can see what's going on in the pre-market. Be disciplined, play your levels, and if you want to come over and trade with us, man, we're at Power Plays, the Discord. This Power Plays Palace, man. It's our YouTube channel, but we having fun. So this is not financial advice, just some ideas from somebody who trades every day. In the meantime, get your trade on, man. Be safe. Do your thing. It's Monday. Let's have a good week, man. Power Plays Palace, man. And we out of here.
Nói chung về position sword, the nothing